Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Colorado, BYU, two of the hottest teams in all of college football, but I think more in a more exciting storyline. Like these two teams seem to be on a crash course to meet in the Big 12 championship game. And I think I'm not up here trying to put the cart before the horse here, but one, both of these teams control their own destiny. But I think more importantly, both of these teams looked apart in terms of the two best teams in the Big 12 conference. I got a feeling that we're going to see this matchup in the Big 12 championship game with a college football playoff spot on the line. Want to take an early look at kind of what makes both of these teams so dangerous and how these two teams match up against one another if we do get this matchup. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the Colorado fans and the BYU fans, these two programs have been a blast for me to talk about, and the amount of support y'all have shown the fellas, it means the absolute world. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm kind of hoping we get this game. I think a lot of Colorado and BYU fans are feeling the same way. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with the national media was putting dirt on both of these teams before the 2024 season even started. And take a look at BYU. They were picked to finish 13th in the Big 12. Colorado was picked to finish 11th. And both of these teams have clearly emerged as the two best teams in this conference. And I think what's so fascinating about this matchup is you're going to see a lot of strength on strength. And I think the first conversation is Shedeur Sanders, this Colorado wide receiver room, this Colorado passing attack in general is one of the more dangerous groups that we see in all of college football. I think everybody knows that. They're going up against the BYU defense that by far the best secondary in the Big 12 conference. But I think more importantly, it's one of the best secondaries that we see in the entire country. When you look at BYU's numbers and say, they're allowing a 52% completion percentage. That's number 5 in the country. A 4.5 yard per pass number. That's number 2 in the country. I mean, top 5 across the board in pretty much every single metric that you look at when you evaluate passing defenses. Going up against the Colorado offense, that one is very good at throwing the football, but I think more importantly, wants to throw the football a lot. They throw the football 59% of offensive snaps. That's number 8 in the country. Strength on strength. And as a college football fan, I don't think it gets much better. Now, when you look at these two teams match up, I think the one storyline is, can Colorado win on the perimeter with their playmakers in space? You know, the Colorado fans, this is something we've talked about extensively over the last couple of weeks, how Colorado is really getting a lot of defenses in trouble is they just got so much speed across the field, and they like to play 4 wide receiver sets. They challenge opposing defenses to just have enough speed and athleticism to deal with all the talent that they have on the outside, you know, whether it's Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr., LaJohntay West, or even a guy like Will Shepherd who's been getting it done after the catch. This Colorado team is going to spread you out, get the football out quick to their playmakers in space, and kind of let them do the rest. And Shedeur Sanders is so good at being a wide receiver friendly quarterback, hitting his wide receivers in stride, throwing them open, allowing them to operate after the catch. Now, BYU has been very good at 2 different things. One, they tackle exceptionally well in the secondary, but I think more importantly, they don't give you a lot of easy access throws. I mean, they're only allowing a 52% completion percentage. This is not a bend but don't break defense. They are going to come up. They're going to try to take away the whole portion of the football field. But when it comes down to it, I think it starts with Colorado. Is that completion percentage going to continue to be around 70% when you play BYU? And then for BYU, if it is that high, can you come up and tackle guys like Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn in space? That's kind of what it comes down to for me in terms of a strength on strength. Now, I think another fascinating storyline in this matchup is the personnel side of things. Colorado challenges you in a lot of different ways because they don't play a ton with a tight end. You know, Savell Smalls will come onto the football field, but they primarily go to that 4 wide receiver look. And I think a large portion of it is, hey, we just got 4 really good wide receivers. We want to make sure they're on the football field. BYU likes to play a lot of 4-3. They don't like to play a lot of nickel. They try to avoid it. They have good linebackers. They got a lot of them. They want to play them. So that personnel, you know, there's going to be some conflict. Like, how often does BYU go to the 3 linebacker set? Or are they forced to play a little bit more nickel defense and keeping that 5th defensive back on the football field? Maybe Colorado getting BYU outside of their comfort zone in terms of the personnel they'd like to play. I think you didn't need to. At the end of the day, if Colorado's going to trot out LeJounte Wester, Jimmy Horn Jr., Travis Hunter, Will Shepard, you got to match that with speed on defense, because I don't think three linebackers can deal with all that speed and space that Colorado's putting out there. So that kind of that battle from a personnel standpoint going to be really interesting to see. That's why I want to see this game so much. Now, I think the second storyline here is, can BYU impact the passer? The only times we've seen Colorado struggle on offense is when they can't keep Shedeur Sanders upright. And to Colorado's credit, ever since that Nebraska game and maybe a little bit in the Kansas State loss, this offensive line has been night and day in pass protection. Now, BYU does a lot of things right, a lot of things very, very well on defense. The one thing you probably wish you would see more of is a little bit more pass rush juice with their front four. You look at BYU's numbers and say they only sacked the quarterback 3.8% of the time. That's 123rd in the country. It's not a very strong pass rush. Now, the storyline you're looking for here, for Colorado, it's simple. You keep Shedeur Sanders clean in the pocket, his numbers with the clean pocket are out of this world. You're probably going to have a good day on offense if you can protect Shedeur Sanders. That's kind of the key for Colorado. For BYU, if you can't get pressure on Shedeur with your front four, can you bring some blitzes? And we've seen at times Colorado's offensive line break down in pass protection when you bring some linebackers from the second level. Now, to Colorado's credit, they've gotten better at that. It was a brand new offensive line. And early in the year, you could tell it was a brand new offensive line. The chemistry, communication wasn't all that good. It's gotten a lot better. That game between BYU's defense scheming up and changing the picture and bringing pressure from different places versus this Colorado offensive line being able to communicate and identify where that pressure is coming from, that's going to be a really big storyline. And I think finally, like, both of these teams, and you talk about why both of these teams have been so good in 2024, they're both turning the football, or they're both forcing turnovers, I should say. BYU's forcing 2.5 turnovers per game. They're almost averaging 3 turnovers per game. That's number 3 in the country. Colorado's forcing 2 turnovers per game. That's 11th in the country. You get a feeling that the turnovers are going to be a massive storyline in this football game. Now, Shedeur has been very, very good taking care of the football. Jake Retzlaff, on the other hand, he's not been bad, but you've seen some times where he puts the ball in harm's way. This is a younger quarterback that is still walking that line between being a playmaker and then also not putting the ball in harm's way. You have a feeling turnovers will be a big portion of this game as well. And I think finally, I think these two teams are just they both of these teams, to me, continue to play their better football. And if you're Colorado, you're heading into this game saying, hey, this pass rush has been Colorado sacking the quarterback 9% of the time. That's top 25 in the country. This is one of the better pass rushes, not only in the Big 12, but in the country. Can you get pressure on Jake Retzlaff, but also keep him inside the pocket, which a lot of teams have struggled to do? And if you're BYU, you're going to need Jake Retzlaff to be a difference maker in this football game. When you want to beat top 25 teams, and I think this is what makes BYU a fun team this year, they got a quarterback that's a difference maker. Yeah, he maybe is still finding that consistency, but when he's asked to do some things, getting outside the pocket, throwing off platform, he can do it at a high level. You're going to see two talented quarterbacks go to battle here. They kind of play into each other's strengths a little bit, which I think is a really interesting storyline. I think it depends on, can BYU get pressure on Colorado, or can Colorado's passing attack, kind of penetrate, for lack of better terms, a really, really good BYU secondary. There's a reason both of these teams seem to be on a collision course in the Big 12 championship game. The college football playoffs on the line. It's not going to get any better. Fired up for this one. If it does happen, I'm kind of rooting for it to happen. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And as you guys know, if this does happen, we'll be talking a lot about this match, kind of into a deeper dive situation. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.